commentating the daily today, for those interested. 4 rounds. This is with the slightly updated list, running Bile Blight in the side and 3 Mutavault. If you haven't checked out the forums lately, do. I'll have a link in the description of this video. Basically, I did a lot of sample hand calculations, and I found that 3 Mutavault is drastically better than 4 in terms of not screwing up our the amount of black mana we have available. So yeah, 3 is basically correct. I don't, not too much else to say about that. So that's what I'm running, and so far I really like it much better. I definitely find that even in practice, I'm getting screwed a lot less by Mutavaults. There's way too many hands where you will have Swamp and a Mutavault and have 2 Wrench Mines in hand or something like that, and you never pull that second Swamp, or you pull it too late, stuff like that. It's extremely important we hit our spells on time to close out games, so otherwise we let our opponent, cast all kinds of things that we can't afford to let them cast. So 3 Mutavault. 3 removal spells, 3 rat, everything else is pretty much 4 of. I got this new Ensnaring Bridge art, as you can see here. The black border. This is the foil version, but on Magic Online it doesn't really look foil. I guess if you turn on the foil animations you can see it or something. Excuse me. But I turn those off. I don't like that shit. So the usual sideboard, except again the blight, great against all kinds of decks, and as you'll see in this daily, it's great against aggro decks. You can take out the pack rats, which are usually pretty terrible, and bring in the blights. So that's one of its applications. So anyway, let's get to it. This is the first round. This is against Small Zoo. He starts off with a Goblin Guide, which is basically always bad, but I don't see Swamp off it, but anyway. Oh, by the way, this is a replay. Sometimes I'll be doing replays with these videos, sometimes not. This one happens to be replays. It's maybe not quite as smooth commentary and whatnot, and it goes a little faster than what you might prefer, but the benefit is it goes a lot faster. You don't have to sit here for 30 minutes watching a video. You can, watch this whole thing in 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah. Anyway, I'll be pausing periodically, so it's not too hard to get a grasp on what's going on. So he drops another Goblin Guide, as you can see, but he's stuck on 1 land, so the situation's not too horrible. He has 2 Boros Terms, which I care about, so that's 8 damage. That's 10-12 damage total. I'm at 14. Obviously these are worrisome, and I don't know if the Life Loss of Thoughtseize is triggered yet, but that could be another 2, so I really gotta watch my life total right now. So right here I take the Boros Term. The path I don't give a shit about, so I'm gonna make him discard the path. Affliction can potentially turn on next turn. He drops a Lone Line, which is just a 1/1 because he doesn't have the other land. I drop my Affliction, keep up mana for Victim. He swings for 5, and I think I concede here because I'd be at 3, and then I think there's just no way out. Yeah. So I concede there. Actually, I might have conceded a bit early on this one. I'm not sure. I could have dropped the Mutavault, blocked Victim, another creature. I don't know. I might have conceded on that one a little early. Anyway, he definitely had me in a good position from his end, so. Anyway, on to game 2. The opener, I think that one had 0 lands, if I'm not mistaken. This one's a tiny bit slow because of the deck more, and there's no real discard. We have the Raven's Crime and no extra land, so that's not too great, but we do have a win con, we have a bridge. damage, which we can probably cast. We have a Ball of Blight, which could potentially take out 2 or 3 creatures, so it's, as far as most of 6 go, this ain't too shabby, so I keep it. Let's pull up the graveyard here, sorry. Thoughtseize. We reveal, let's see, oh, the chat's a little bugged, I think. Anyway, it's, I think, Ancient Grudge Path and a land, if I'm not mistaken. So, I get rid of the path, because the grudge is pretty useless. I believe that's what happens. So he tries to target his loam line with a Rampager for, geez, that would be 6 damage. So I obviously don't want that to happen, so I Blight in response. Pass turn, draw Thoughtseize, get rid of his second charm. Not too shabby. Crime. He pulls a Nicodle, I get rid of his grudge. So he's swinging with a Nicodle now, and he has his Curdape down. Not a super great situation. I drop Bridge, basically just to get rid of this, so that if I draw another Bridge, then it actually works. Also, I have nothing else to do, so. Decks with Grudge, make one aside in Surgical Extraction sometimes, but sometimes it's not worth it, so here you can see I just race him with Affliction. That's often how it happens. Sometimes you can be faster than aggro. On to game 3. This hand, looking at it now, I kind of regret keeping it. I only kept it, I think, because he mulled to 6, I believe. 6 or 5, no, 6, because he's dropping 2 cards. But that's still, this is pretty shit, so I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have kept it. Let's pull up the graveyard. Drops a Lone Line, Curdape, and Wild Nicodle, so he's got the full suite going, and he has 2 lands, so he's happy. So I attempt to race him with the Rack and Affliction, because he only had 1 card in hand, I believe, so we're just trying to race him. I'm at 18, so I'm not in terrible shape. Now he'll have 2 cards. If he keeps them in hand, as he should, then I will just Wrench Mine them, and yeah, I could potentially Lily -2, I don't know. I have options, we'll see. So he drops a ton of more stuff. I'm not sure I would have done that. There's, I don't know, advantages and disadvantages to both, but I probably wouldn't have done that. But anyway, so we draw Blight, which is very nice. So you can see here, let's see what happens. Yeah, so all that happens is, look, like right here, this is an example of how Blight is amazing. He can do 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 damage, which would definitely be enough to kill me. So I Blight, take out 6 of that damage. So that's half the damage. It goes down to 6, I'm at 5. I can even avoid a Boros Charm or Lightning Bolt, doesn't matter. So I've got enough to survive through the next turn, so Blight is great here, and of course he doesn't see it coming. So, there you go, he concedes, doing 5 next turn, just enough, pretty much. There you go, game 3. That was game 3, right? Sometimes it gets a little blurry. Yes, that was game 3, just making sure. Okay, round 2, I believe this is Jund. So, excellent opener. 2 lands, one of them is Urborg. Victim Inquisition, we just have everything. We have Wincons, excellent discard, enough lands, we have a Lily, great shape, pretty much the perfect hand. Let's check out his hand. I don't know why that's doing that. 2 land, Dark Confidant, Rattle Master, Lightning Bolt, Darkwave, so he has basically the same setup. So this is obviously going to be probably a pretty tight game. I take the Confidant because you should always pretty much take the Confidant. If you take other things, they'll probably just draw those things again with Confidant for 1. He drops his Goyf, I Wrench Mine him down. I only get his lightning bolt out of hand though. He doesn't really care about any of that. He drops his Rabble Master, which is very good against us and in general. I really like this card in Jund. So he has lots of action here. So I drop my Affliction, get rid of that Rabble Master before it gets out of control. So now he's down to 5 damage, potentially 8 with the Treetop. Affliction gets in a bit of damage, I believe. Yep. Yeah, so he swings him with the Treetop. I don't have much choice here, except to drop the Rat. He lilies, cuts my thing, swings in, and that's just, that's it. So it's basically he had more threats than I could deal with. Basically, if I had Bridge, we'd be in great shape, but that was just a little too much. Yep. That's how it happens against Jund sometimes. And that was with a perfect hand, too. So, yeah. See how this is a tough matchup. Too slow, or too quick for us. Sometimes, unlike Junk, it's great that Junk is now if I check correctly, it's the #1 deck in the format. So much happier about that because it's like a turn or two slower, which works out great for us. So we can handle that deck much better. It's still not like an amazing matchup or anything, but we'd much prefer it. Just pause for a sec here. Sorry about that. We can see his hand here: Raging Ravine, Treetop Village, Forest, Tarmogoyf. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. So I get rid of his Abrupt Decay. He gets rid of my Liliana. Another excellent hand on my part. Seems like a pretty good one on his as well. But I seem to have the advantage now that I took his Abrupt Decay, but then he draws another Tarmogoyf. So my plan was to, Tarmogoyf would be his only creature on board. I get rid of it with the Lily, but that did not work out. So I just make him sack one of the Tarmogoyfs. He gets rid of Lily. Now it's all down to just, Tarmogoyf versus whatever. And I'm almost dead here. I pull a Mutavault to buy me another turn. He's fine with that, of course. And that's that game. See? Again, no Bridge. So that's... You can kind of see here that Bridge is basically the key to this matchup, and hopefully having more Bridges than they have Abrupt Decays, or Abrupt Decays that you don't discard. So, yep. That or more removal. I mean, in ways we'd like to fit more removal in the deck, but there's not really any room. Okay. This is one downside of Magic Online replays, is the games are out of order sometimes. I believe that was game 3, but it's not actually game 3, so this will be game 2. Apologies for that. So this is an excellent opener. Double Thoughtseize, Raven's Crime with Dakmor. I draw Pack Rat, so another great hand. He has Treetop Village Bow, which is an interesting choice. I don't know if I'd bring that in, but anyway. Double Raging Ravine. So he basically has Bow and Lily. Treetop is a bit of a concern, but yeah. So I draw the Pack Rat in hopes of going all in on Pack Rat, which can be amazing against them. Unfortunately, he draws the Abrupt Decay just in time. So I go back to the original plan of discarding everything. I see, I think I saw, yeah, no, never mind. I misplay here. I should have double Raven's Crimed in hopes of getting rid of the Bow. Instead I Wrench Minded and he discards that. I was a little thrown off by the artifacts, normally look, a certain way. They're not like green and whatnot. And anyway, so a silly misplay on my part. But I know I'm making excuses, but I mean, Bo is not a card you see too often, so. He gets his Lily going. Draws a Scavenging Ooze. I packed his Ooze. I pull a Rack. And I think, yeah, I believe I make a mistake here with the Lily. It doesn't cost me the game, but I kill his Lily, I think, next turn, and I should really keep it alive. There's not really any reason. There's not much reason not to, and that's keeping the discard every turn going. I mean, he seems to be continually choosing to +1, so I pull a Bridge here, kill his Lily. The only reason not to, I guess, is I mean, he could theoretically ultimate it if, I don't know, he gets enough action going. Like maybe he gets rid of my Rack or whatever. That's a reason too. Also, if I draw a Pack Rat, you know, before I drew that Bridge, then that could be a reason to kill it. So I don't know. There's positives and negatives. So he can't do anything through Bridge, but he's getting a bunch of life with Ooze. Second Ooze is up. He maybe shouldn't play that, but whatever. I've got Mutavaults backing me up. He's getting rid of my Raven's Crimes with these Oozes, unfortunately, so that sucks for me. But I do draw Wrench Mind, so that's gonna come in handy. He pulls Dark Confidant, unfortunately, which I am a little worried about, but it will keep my Wrench Mind good for a while, so I pull second Bridge and drop that happily, just in case. It basically nullifies the Abrupt Decay. It's pretty unlikely he's going to draw 2 even with Dark Confidant. For some stupid reason, he plays his second Confidant. I really wouldn't have done that. You're not going to pull two Abrupt Decays if that's the plan. And you can see here it works against him. So he's going to start taking 3 off this, and then he's taking, you know, 1 to 3 off each of these. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't think I would have done that, but it's being a little too aggressive. But he does take in my Rack, so that's nice. Nice for him. Wrench Mind him. Get rid of some useless discard. Drop a Mutavault for backup, and now he dies to his own confidence. So, slightly sloppy play on his part, I would argue. I mean, there's reasons to drop the second Confidant, I suppose, but I don't think there were very good ones. Game 3, this is against Black-White Tokens. Interesting list. He's running some what I was there subpar cards like Doom Traveler. That doesn't seem great to me in Modern, but maybe I'm wrong. So he gets started with Gather the Townsfolk. So I get to work on his hand. I'm going to save this Blight for later. I want to minimize his options. So my plan, I debated dropping Bridge here, but I thought if I Blight here, and that might buy me a bunch of time, and then I can drop Bridge instead of having to take, you know, a bunch of damage and then Blighting or whatever. But it turns out not to work super well. As you can see here, he just drops another Townsfolk, so I didn't buy myself a turn or two like I'd hoped, but not a huge deal. I'm still at 13, and the Bridge is going to start doing work soon. Also, Affliction is now turned on. Very nice. Doing tons of damage. Putting up a good race. So we drop the Lily, of course, and the Thoughtseize, which we no longer need. Victim. Nice to have just in case if he pulls at the Bridge with Disenchant or something. So I Victim one of his guys just in case, since I'm about to discard it to Lily. And you can see now he's toast to the Racks. Game 2. I guess that was game 1 if I had Blight, so don't mind me, stupid him, Magic Online. I'm gonna have to report that bug. It's quite frustrating. Anyway, another slower hand, but I have Racks and a Bridge, and Bridge is just insane against him, and I didn't see, well, yeah, anyway. Drop a Rack, another Rack, start doing work. 2 Bridges, excellent. Putsies. Well, yeah, 2 bridges is great because this is game 1, and I know that he doesn't, almost definitely, doesn't have artifact removal, so discard his lightning bolt. His guys can still attack, so I'm definitely playing with death here, but I pull a swamp just in time. And this is a great example of why everyone should run Pact, in my opinion. A lot of times the bridge will, not be able to turn on. You'll have played all the stuff that you can play, and you'll be like 1 card shy of turning off a bunch of their attackers. So right now I draw the bridge and Pact, and that buys me just enough time to win. Also, if I draw another land, then it doesn't matter if I have 2 cards in hand. So it's a great reason to keep Pact in the deck. Also, save it for the main combat phase generally, or the begin combat phase. Because they won't be expecting, and they might play some stuff in the first main not thinking about Pact. So it's a good idea. So here I pay for the Pact, and it doesn't really matter. See, there's my land. He can attack, and I get the last damage in. Easy, easy. Round 4. Let's hope this is actually game 1. This is against Red-Green Breach. I have a kind of slow hand, but it's decent. I have a Wincon, I have a Lily, which does a bit of everything, and Pact sometimes, or Pack Rats are not Pact, sometimes just wins games on its own against the right opponent with the right deck, so it's not terrible. You can't be too greedy with your 8 rack keeps, I find. So I draw Pack Rat. My Affliction's out, he's starting to ramp. Drops another Elder. I drop a Lily because he has just 2 cards in hand, and I know what his plan is. I know that it's likely, one of those cards is, he could have Through the Breach and Emrakul in his hand, for example. Or he could have like a critical ramp spell and Escape Shift. I don't know if he's running Escape Shift. I don't know. Anyway, my feeling is that getting him down to 1 card could be extremely valuable here, and I can wait a turn on Rat. You can definitely make arguments for just going all in on Rat, but I decide to kind of play it safe, I guess. So, discard Urborg, swing with that, and drop an Affliction, so he's taking massive amounts of damage. I think he just concedes right here. Yep. So I've got the Rat Meat Vault, so this is one of the quickest wins I've ever had with 8 rack turn 5, I believe. Turn 5, 6, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's game 1. That was actually game 1. On to game 2. 0 land hand. 1 land with basically nothing happening. Go down to 5, same thing. This is the closest thing to playable I've seen so far. So we keep this. Just gonna pull down the chat here. So draw Crime, which is not too bad, except that he has an Obstinate Bailoff, which I didn't consider. It's debatable whether I should play around that. These Breach decks and Escape Shift decks, I think they all board Bailoff, or most of them at least. So you can make a case for it, but on the other hand, if he doesn't have it, then I'm waiting around for 3 turns discarding nothing. So, and it's not like the Bailoff kills me right away. It's like 4 turn clock or whatever. So, and potentially I could kill with the Lily. So, taking a look at his hand, you see Stomping Ground, Revelry, and Through the Breach. So I take the Revelry, I believe. Drop my second Swamp. He starts swinging in wisely. He keeps this alive. That makes his clock a little quicker. Also, he might be playing around Lily, which is extremely smart and does screw me over, as you can see here. Let's get rid of his Mountain. He's holding on to that Revelry smartly. So next turn I'm dead, except that I get very lucky and draw a Victim of Night. This game I get extremely lucky, I think 2 or 3 times. This is one of them. So, blast that. So now I'm on a 3-turn clock. Normally I wouldn't give a shit about this, but since I'm at 3 life, I have to get rid of it, which is pretty embarrassing. I think he doesn't sack in response to me playing Lily. I think he might have got the timing off. He doesn't realize that once she's on the board, he can't do anything. Like, there's no time to respond to her -2, so... But he should have, in response to that, crack, but he didn't, so... Although, on the other hand, I mean, if he cracks, then I can +1, so... Like, I wouldn't +1 because the creature's gone, so I don't know. Maybe he was thinking about that. Thankfully, I pull a rack here. Combination with the crime. Excellent. Exactly what I want. Discard Titan, +1. Get rid of the Revelry. Very nice. I'm surprised he discarded this, but I forget the other card in his hand now. I don't think it was better, but I could be wrong. So, we'll see it now in a sec. Titan, and what was the other one? Emmergruel. Yeah, so I really don't see why he he discarded the Revelry. He should have definitely used that on the rack and discarded Emmergruel or something. I guess he was hoping to win out of nowhere, I don't know, off a breach or something. But that's not even possible, the Lily. Anyway, that's pretty much the game.